Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel for another update. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode. So today we're going to be in my garage. We're going to be installing a couple new parts on the car, but first off I want to give you guys a big shout out. Thanks again for allowing me to hit that 12K mark. My next goal is to the 15,000 mark. So once again, thank you all so much for supporting my channel. So let's get right into today's install video. So today's install video is one of the things I've had in my dining room for a long time. It's just kind of been sitting there. Haven't really had time between moving, packing, getting stuff prepared for me to PCS and to move to Florida. It's kind of just been set to the side, and I don't know, it's been eating me alive, not being able to put this part on my car. But as you can see right here, we have new slotted rotors, and we have the EBC yellow stuff brakes. I went ahead and I wanted to do the passenger side by myself first without having the camera, so I didn't have to like start, stop, film, start, stop, film, blah, 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 blah. But all in all, super easy process. Maybe an hour, maybe a little over an hour. The hardest part was breaking the bolts off of the actual caliper itself and then having to lay it over. But I'm going to explain to you all that on the actual driver side whenever we do that side. But let's go ahead and take another look. Here's a look at the EBC slotted rotor and the EBC yellow stuff brake pads. All right, so if you take a look right here, these are the actual brake pads. Keep in mind, I've already opened this box. Did I open it upside down? What's going on here? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so inside this box you have, of course, your shims, okay? And it does come with some grease, of course, that you need to put on those shims for friction and noise and all that good stuff. So you have some instructions, some paperwork, and then here are the actual pads themselves, okay? This is the rear, and this is the front, just like that, okay? And like I said, the shims, and then there is the grease. And then here is the box for the actual rotors. Now keep in mind, the right side is obviously already on. We'll just remove all of this. Here is the actual left side rotor. Now I went with slotted. Could have got drilled and slotted, but I figured, they're all for cooling purposes, and I didn't want, I've heard of people having drilled and slotted and they crack, so I definitely don't want that to happen. But that's what you're going to get in the kit. They do not have anything out yet for the rear as far as, I believe, pads and actual rotors for the rear. EBC has not came out with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the disassembling the factory rotor and factory brake pads. So first things first, let's go ahead and jack the car up and get the tire off. Oh, one more thing before we get completely started. I wanted to show you guys, my car has about 23,000 miles on it, and these are what, how much is left on the factory brake pads. Not bad at all. They are still in pretty decent shape. Here's what the factory rotor looks like. Still a pretty smooth surface. Everything's still good, so I'm just gonna keep this, set aside for whatever may happen in the future. But I just want to show you guys the factory rotor and the factory pads with about 23,000 miles on it. Everything still looks great. Alright guys, here you have it. Factory rotor, factory pads, and calipers. Yes, I did paint mine red. Alright, so the first thing you're going to remove is this nut right here, or bolt I should say. And that is a 14 millimeter. Let me get the camera nice and focused. Once again, that is a 14 millimeter. Alright guys, so once you get the 14 millimeter removed, just like that, go ahead and place it to the side. And what that's going to allow you to do is, you're going to take this caliper, okay, and you're going to fold it up just like that. And as you can see, the brake already fell out. So what we're going to do is, let me get the camera to focus, go ahead and pull this pin, okay, take that pin out, set this pin to the side somewhere because you're going to need it on the new ones. So this is the front, or excuse me, the rear. And then just take this one out right here, okay? And then the next thing that I did, I went ahead and shut this back since we have the actual pads out. And then I put the 14 millimeter back. And then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna remove some bolts behind that hold the caliper up. We're gonna take the entire caliper off and we're gonna rest it right here. And I'll show you guys that in just a minute. All right, so this next part's actually gonna be kind of difficult to show you. So there is a 17 millimeter bolt right there you have to remove. There's one right there by that line. And then if you follow it all the way directly to the bottom, let me get my head out of the way and see exactly what I'm filming, but it's right here where my finger's at. That's the second one that you need to remove, and that's gonna allow us to take the entire caliper and fold it up off the rotor. All right, so just to give you guys a little friendly tip, what I did was I took the bar off of the jack handle, and I had to use that as a cheater bar to get these to get those 17 millimeters off. They are very, very, very hard to remove without a cheater bar. Okay, so what I did on the previous side is that I took the jack like this. I have both the let me see if you can see this. I have both the 17 millimeter bolts removed from the top and bottom of the caliper. So literally what you're gonna wanna do is take the caliper, your jack up as high as you can go, take the caliper completely off, gently rotate it, and then let it sit on the jack just like that. Let me take the camera off so you guys can see. All right, I know it's a little jerry-rigged, but hey, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is remove this Phillips head bolt. It's a PH3, I believe is what I used. And then you'll just tap on this a little bit with a mallet or something and the rotor will come right off. All right guys, so the next thing you want to do is take this Phillips head off. Now my hands are full of grease, so what I decided to do is just take an old shop rag, bust this loose, just like that, okay? And do not forget where you place this because you are going to need this Phillips head screw again. There is the little guy that you need. See if the camera will focus on it. Good, perfect, you didn't. All right, anyways, now the rotor's loose. Go ahead and take your mallet and gently hit the rotor a little bit and she'll fall right off. All right guys, finally we got this rotor off. This one was a lot harder than the rear. It was just a real pain in the rear, and I actually had to go put noise canceling headphones in and beat the heck out of it right here on this side. So as you can see, there is the factory rotor. Curse you. Ugh. That was like 20 minutes trying to beat this daggum thing off, but finally we got it. Took my daggum 12-ounce hammer, which I know is not much. I recommend a dead blow or some kind of mallet. Get back there, hit that rotor right there. All right, so let's go ahead and put the new rotor on. All right, go ahead and get the new rotor. There's gonna be a part that is kind of like chiseled inward or drilled like inward. It's the only way that it'll line up perfectly for where the screw goes. So, I don't know if you can see, but there's a hole that looks different than the other 2 or 3 that are on there. You want to make sure that's where you replace the screw that you just took out on the stock rotor. Alright guys, the next thing you want to do is take the factory screw that you took out from the previous rotor. Get that in there. Make sure you get it nice and snug. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the caliper back on, open that port back up, and then we're going to put the brake pads back on, and then we should be done here in no time. Okay, so as you can see, the rotor is now back on, screw is back in. We took the caliper off here, put it back, laid it back over, went ahead and tightened the 2 bolts here in the back. As you can see, one there and then one there. And then I went ahead and took out this bolt right here again. We're gonna go ahead and lay this top part of the caliper open. And if you got some channel locks, C-clamp, whatever, you need to go ahead and close this piston. And then next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mount these pads. This one goes in the back like so, and then of course this one right here goes up front. But first thing we're gonna do is we're going to put, we're not gonna put this, the shim is already on here, so the next thing we're gonna do is apply the grease on top of here. Okay, so EBC sends you their own grease that they want you to use. So what you're gonna do is take the pad, take the grease, and then go ahead and smear it on all the surface area on the back of the shim. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other pad. So like so, just go ahead and get it nice and evenly all over the surface area of that pad. Take your finger, index finger, squeeze you a little bit on there, and go ahead and cover, like I said, all of the surface area. All right guys, so as you can see, let me take you guys off the tripod. We have both the calipers are in, and what you're gonna wanna make sure you have done, make sure these are pushed in all the way. And then as you can see right here, make sure you have the piston compressed. And then the next thing you wanna do is, whenever we were removing the factory brake pads, you have this little piece of wire that comes out. Make sure you take this wire, bend it in, and it's gonna go in just like so. If the camera will focus. As you can see, it's gonna go in just like that, and it goes on the top, not the bottom. All right guys, so as you can see, the caliper is now back on. You're gonna take the bolt that you took out of the caliper on the back side, and you're gonna go ahead and place it back in, just like so. Okay, go ahead and get that thing nice and finger tight. And just remember, that little metal piece that you had, it goes up top here. I don't know if you can see it due to the camera and the lighting, but everything's now back in. And let's go ahead and tighten this bolt back up here, and then we're gonna tighten this bolt back up right there. All right, so just to recap everything we used a 14 millimeter for the bolts here on the back side of the caliper, okay? And then we used the 17 millimeter to get the two bolts off, to completely release the caliper and to make it to where we can take the caliper and set it up on top of each other. Phillips head screwdriver to get the rotor screw out, and then pair of channel locks or a C-clamp to compress the piston. And yeah, so now I'm gonna throw everything back on, put the tire back on, and go take it for a test drive, and I'll let you guys know what I think about the new brakes. Alright guys, so I just took the car around the block. The brakes feel 110 times better than stock. Of course, you know, there's a little bit of grinding. The brakes are gonna getting used to everything nice and new. So as you can see, obviously, you know, the coating is obviously gonna wear off over time, but I still have slotted rotors and EBC yellow stuff brake pads. But yeah, I'll do a complete review of the EBC rotors and the yellow stuff brake pads in a future video. All right, one last thing. Ah, crap. Welcome to the tool crib, baby. You made it on there. Thanks, EBC. Alright guys, so two things happened in today's video. We changed the rotors and the brake pads. So if you don't go aftermarket, you still will know how to change your factory rotors and brake pads. So if you liked or enjoyed today's video, please leave it a big thumbs up. And if you're stopping into the channel for the first time, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on your post notifications. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.
It's rap packed to my pulse flat. We keep it real, no false rap. I got 4 cars and they all black. Got 4 bras and they all that. We call that ballin'. Doing this is my calling.